With the Rinnegan first being introduced with Pain, the leader of the Akatsuki, we got to see a lot of the base techniques that they hold, such as the animal path, predator path, all that shit. And after that, we got to see a lot more users such as Modera, Sasuke, and Hagorom, which utilize Rinnegan exclusive techniques. Most of the fandom now are wondering who is the best user out of all of these people. I'm joined here with my good pal Six. Say what's up.
Hey.
Yeah, and we're just gonna be ranking them on how best they utilize the Rinnegan's abilities. Whether this is the exclusive abilities or the basic 5 or 6 pass abilities. Who do you think we should start with?
Obito.
Yeah.
Obito is definitely the worst one.
He really only uses the Rinne Rebirth and some of the black poles and maybe the chains, shit like that. He doesn't utilize any exclusive abilities and doesn't show near as much mastery with the basic techniques as any of the people higher on this list.
Yeah, I mean, Obito is stated to be able to use the animal path in the data book. We never get to see him do it, but it is stated he can use it. And whenever he fights Kakashi and Naruto and everyone, they're not worried about him using the Rinnegan abilities because he kind of just straight tells them, like, you guys kind of know how to counter it. So it's really hard to put Obito up on this list when he's just not using the abilities.
Even though he didn't really, like Six said, they knew how to counter him, so he wouldn't really have a chance to use him. He still didn't, so we just can't put him higher. Next, we would probably have Kaguya. Aside from her exclusive abilities, such as the dimension creating and some chakra absorption, just like Obito, she doesn't really utilize any of the other abilities. I don't even think she's good at utilizing her own abilities at that.
Yeah, she mostly gets help from Black Zetsu because she's kind of just spamming her abilities. Zetsu's like, you need to chill out. You're gonna run out of chakra. You know, let's not chase Naruto. Let's do this. You already made this many jumps. So I don't want to put her higher on the list specifically because of that. But yeah.
And naturally, right after her, we have the person who literally basically controls her will, who tells her how to use all of her techniques to his maximum effectiveness, is Black Zetsu.
With Black Zetsu, obviously we know he used Rinne Rebirth on Obito's body. You could even put him much higher on this list, potentially above whoever we have at the top. I'm not going to spoil it here, but I'll bring it back up whenever we get to the top of the list, because of specific things he's seen throughout history, and he seems to be able to learn abilities by just seeing them, because he's never used a Rinnegan before, but he's able to control Obito to use Rinne Rebirth, which obviously Kaguya shouldn't have used before because Kaguya's not reviving anybody and she didn't die. So yeah,
he's just right there for his extreme intelligence and how long he's been out throughout history, looking at everybody. Next, this one, I know people probably expecting him to be at the top since it's completely his arsenal. We have Nagato. He only really showcases the basic 6 pass technique, and I think the outer path will be 7, right?
Yeah,
and the outer path, even though that is his whole arsenal, he just doesn't use it as much, I know, as the people who are higher on this list, and they also aren't that effective once the Leaf Shinobi got used to them.
Yeah, so for the list, we kind of value using the your more Rinnegan exclusive abilities over the specific basic Rinnegan abilities everyone should have access to. But since Nagato uses them so frequently, we decided to put him above Kaguya, even though she mainly uses her exclusive ability. Nagato having access to limbo clones and whatnot is kind of a debate to be had at another time. You can maybe imply it through this one statement Modera makes to Obito, that he shouldn't use limbo while Obito is in front of him. You could either interpret that as Obito would be able to see it, so there would be no point, or Obito would realize he could do it too and just start using limbo as well. But as far as we know, as far as what we've seen, by Nagato time he died, he cannot use limbo clones.
He would also just have no way of, even if he could, he would also have no way of knowing he could use these techniques, regardless of him having Modera's Rinnegan. He just would not even know. After Nagato, we have Modera. I know that's coming as a surprise because people are thinking he didn't use it nearly as much as Nagato, but bringing meteorites out of geostationary orbit would require just way more control over the diva pad than summoning a small ball that made Pain's nose bleed and that got destroyed by Itachi, Killer Bee, and Casey on Naruto. That's just a way better feat than any Chibaku Tensei that Nagato has done.
Yeah, you also need the Rinnegan to be able to become a Ten Tails Jinchuriki in the first place. So that's another thing Modera did with his Rinnegan that people kind of overlook. And then even with the Diva Path, Modera used like 18, 20 Chibaku Tensei at the exact same time. Way crazier than anything Nagato could do with the
And another underrated feat is how he summoned the ghetto statue. It got like Kamui sniped, so it had half his body, and he still single-handedly took every single tailed beast, even took Naruto out of KCM 2 with like one attack. Like he just snapped and did it. It was over. That's way better Geto Mazo feat than anything Nagato has done. Next, we have Momoshiki. Just like Nagato, kind of, his whole arsenal is full of Rinnegan abilities, but the things such as his absorption and re-releasing the techniques he absorbed, he just utilizes them better than Nagato does any of the basic 6-pass technique. Like, he absorbs a Biju bomb from Killer B, and he can amp it so much to where it can incapacitate Naruto and cause Sasuke to teleport away.
Yeah, and we also know that Momoshiki can use the different paths of pain, the diva path. He uses in the anime. I'm sure he doesn't call them that or know what they're specifically called, but he does have the Rinnegan exclusive abilities.
Yeah, when they're raining down the kunai and shuriken on him, his gold Rinnegan glows like red, and he uses the almighty push to push him away. With his Rinnegan also, when he creates the chakra pills, because that is also a Rinnegan ability, he's able to use that a lot. He uses that to take the whole, or almost the whole 8 tails. He uses it to take 50% of Naruto's chakra, and he can even store and use these later as well. Next, we have Sasuke. A lot of people think that he's not very good at using his techniques because he doesn't spam almighty push like Nagato, but that just isn't true. He's actually one of the better users of the Diva Path and Preta Path.
Yeah, we had to like go through this again and kind of realize how cracked Sasuke was. Sasuke was originally much lower on the list, but Sasuke, he uses Diva Path obviously to get the Biju in Chibaku Tensei. That's impressive feat number 1. That's 9 Chibaku Tensei at the same time, all better than Nagato's and Modera's because they don't have a black core that you can destroy. So the one exploited weakness, as you know, Itachi said, every jutsu has a weakness. The one exploited weakness that was with the Chibaku Tensei, Sasuke literally nullifies. So Sasuke can do that. Then when he's in the air, he uses the Diva Path to bring all the Chibaku Tensei to him. Way better lifting strength feat than anything Nagato did with his Bancho Tenin, and Modera never used the ability. And then he uses the Preta Path to absorb the chakra into a Susanoo on like a massive scale, similar to Hagorom according to Kurama. And then he got the Genjutsu. It's just a ton of stuff. Aminote Jakara.
Yeah, in Boruto, he just spams Aminoto Jakara in like versus Kenshiki, Momoshiki, Jigen, Ishiki. He just uses that every fight basically in Boruto. That's another.
Yeah. So Sasuke is definitely up there. The only thing you could really say about Sasuke not using some of the other abilities is probably how irrelevant they would be to use. Like Sasuke using missiles on Momoshiki.
Yeah, that wouldn't really.
It's not gonna do anything.
And to even add more, things to Sasuke, he had just awakened the Rinnegan when he was doing all these crazy feats. That's just another thing.
And he was just learning it as he was going along. He said that to Naruto.
Next, we have Hagorom. His is pretty straightforward because all the info and lore that we get on why these attacks exist and why people know how to do these attacks should just come from Hagorom. Like, it's called the 6-pass technique, named after the sage of the 6 pass.
The person who gets the Rinnegan on Earth is literally going to be the second coming of Hagorom.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he should just be peak with these abilities, like just being honest.
Everything Nagato did, he should just be able to do on an astronomically higher scale. The same thing with Modera. The only things that he shouldn't be able to do is probably the Otsutsuki exclusive Rinnegan abilities like Dimension Creating or Momo's absorbing and returning attacks. But those wouldn't really matter anyway. He should just be so much better at using the other attacks. As an honorable mention, if y'all want to know where Urashiki would be, I know many people don't consider him canon or consider him only canon to the Boruto anime. If I were to rank him, he would probably be right below Hagorom or right below Sasuke. Because like the other people that are very high on the list, all of his techniques are Rinnegan exclusive. Like, he can time travel a little bit, absorb techniques, dimension travel, instant substitution, transform, return attacks. But again, he doesn't have that much screen time. And he's not very good at using them, seeing how he lost to Jiraiya and Kid Naruto. So yeah. They're just a little bonus. But with that being said, that's the video. See you later.